School is the most important thing in your life. And while I hate school, I got a PhD. And I hate school. I hate everything about it. So somebody say, E, if you hate school so much, why you get a PhD? Because I hate school, but I love options. You can have average skill, but you can't have average will. You can't have average will. Like your will has to be phenomenal. You have to see basketball as the gateway. It's like a passport. Basketball is just your way to get in, and then once you get in, boom, then you dominate. So I'm telling you, you're not taking a test because they're giving you the test. You're taking a test that's about to change your life, your mama's life. And I know if you take the test serious, you'll kill it. When you go through your go-through, your siblings are watching you. When you go through your go-through, your friends are watching you. When you go through your go-through, your parents are watching you. And people will use your strength to get through their stuff.
Yo, what up? It's your boy, E.T. Welcome to another edition of FreeSummerSchool.com. FreeSummerSchool.com. Hey, knowledge is the new money. Get you some. You hear me? Get you some. Get as much as you could possibly have in this particular life, all right? Now, look, I want to talk about something that, again, I told y'all before. We get bottled up, and while we are uniquely made, we're intelligent, we're brilliant, we got it going on, there are things we could do to self-sabotage, right? Some of those things are internal. Some of those things are external, meaning some of those things you can control because they're in your mind. Some of the things are things that happen outside of our control. But let me say this to you. I told somebody, yo, I don't care how bad the situation is. You only get one life, so you got to get over it. Like, let's just say, you know, you only get 36,420 days to live, right? That's even though that may seem like a lot, it's still a number you can count. It's not infinite, right? It's a number you can count. It means you're gonna have a beginning, you're gonna have an end. Imagine if something bad happened to you and you waste 1,000 of those days. Like, for real, you don't get those back. So you got to look at it different. That's why I always tell people, I ain't tripping on money. You can get money back. Time is something you can't get back. And so even if something happens to us that's like devastating, we got to understand that you're not going to get back your elementary years. You're not going to get your middle school years back. You're not going to get your high school years back. You're not going to get your college years back. And I'm telling you, I got my first degree in my 30s, but it wasn't like it was my freshman year, my sophomore year, my junior year. I ain't get those back, the ones that I wasted. So there are going to be things that happen in life that are out of your control, that are going to be miserable. Just keep it in water. That it seem like it's unfair. I remember when my son broke his femur playing football. I'm like, oh man, like, why him? My mother-in-law getting diagnosed with cancer and it's spreading throughout her body. My wife getting diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. Like, yo, it's just life, y'all. Life ain't no fairy tale. Stuff happens. Like, it's real. I done lost multiple aunts, 5 at least, to cancer. Like, it was rent. And I'm talking about my mother's sisters, right? Her blood sisters. Like, life is just throw stuff at you, you know? And so understand peace. I want you to be at peace, right? And look, peace is not the absence of grief. It's not. It's the ability to cope with it. And if you're going to be successful in this life, you're going to have to learn how to cope with teachers you don't like. And not, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're going to have a whole bad year because of that teacher, or somebody joking on you, or somebody trying to bully you. Like, a portion of life is going to be hell, right? So you got to learn to be at peace. Like it, meaning that it don't rattle you. It don't destroy you. It don't knock you off your block. It don't take your joy, your happiness. It don't take that from you. So stuff is going to happen. And if you let external stuff dictate your happiness, I promise you, out of those 36,000, however many days, like, a lot of those days are going to be wasted because you don't have the ability to cope. So I've had to learn, one, to just understand bad stuff is going to happen. Whether you're a good person, a bad person, you know, it rain on everybody. The sun shine on everybody. It hails on everybody. It snow. Are you hearing what I'm saying? Like, life, bad stuff gonna happen. You and your brother gonna get into it. It don't gotta last for 5 or 6 days. Y'all gonna disagree. In the summertime, you're not gonna get to go to every party you want to, or you're not gonna get to go to the amusement park, or you're not gonna get to go swimming, or you're not gonna get to go out the house. You're not gonna get to take every vacation. You're not gonna be able to be with your friends. All stuff's gonna happen, y'all. It's gonna happen, right? But you gotta learn to say, okay, nope, maybe I can't go to amusement park, but I'm gonna turn my backyard into the amusement park, or I'm gonna turn my living room to amusement park, or I'm gonna turn my bedroom into amusement park, right? My grandma died. Yep, that hurts, but I'm gonna remember all the good with my grandma, and I'm gonna be the person my grandma want me to be. Not I'm gonna go in the closet and close the door, and I'm gonna die with grandma. You think grandma wants you to die with her? That's not what grandma want. B, sound the alarm. I want y'all this quote right here. Oh, this quote right here, y'all. Listen to this. It's possible to go on, no matter how hard or how impossible it may seem. And that in time, the grief, it lessens. It may not go away completely, but after a while, it's not going to be so overwhelming. I want y'all to know that time heals all wounds. All right? Time heals all wounds. Just give it time. But do me a favor, don't let it break you. You only got 3,000 something miles. Don't let it break you. Don't let it steal your days. Don't let it rob you of your joy. Don't let it take your peace. Don't let it take your happiness away from you. All right? Grief is real, but cope. Get some coping mechanisms and learn how, when you don't get what you want, not to have a temper tantrum, not talk to your family, go in the corner crying, angry. Learn how to say, this isn't necessarily how I envision it. This is not even what I want. But I'm going to learn that whatever state I find myself in, I'm still going to be happy, because my happiness is not dictated by what happens to me. My happiness is dictated based on my perspective of what happened to me. All right. It's your boy ET. Small steps, great distances. Now you know. Let's go.
Welcome to Free Summer School. Knowledge is the new money. Get you some. ET, the hip hop preacher, Eric Thomas. We are here in Friends. I'm the host, Quincy Harris. Before we get started, man, I want to tell the students today, you are worthy. You are worthy of any and everything. And it took me a long time to get this. You are worthy. You are enough to get any and every dream that you want in life.
Facts.
They must know that.
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts.
Yeah. Like, he's not the only one that, could go to Michigan State. He's not the only one that can get a PhD. Coach B's not the only one that have muscles. Fatah's not the only one that can write books. I want you guys to know this. Okay. So but today
and there was a time, Q, where we didn't feel deserving. And we had to embrace, we deserve it. I'm from Michigan. Everybody else going to Michigan, Michigan State, Central, Western, you know what I'm saying? Eastern. Like, why can't I, you feel me? Why can't I, go? And so, yeah, y'all look, we didn't always believe, y'all, but we believe now. We believe. Is that, I feel like I'm rooting for the Hawks when I say that. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I'm rooting for the Atlanta Hawks when I say we believe. You know what I'm saying? We believe.
No, it's real. Like, please, students, if you can get that now, it'll save you a lot of time. Like, you'll get to the life that you really deserve quicker than you can ever believe. Today we're talking, man. It's a serious topic. And some of the students out there have experienced it. Coping with death. Like, what do you say to them about that?
Yeah, well, coping. Yeah, this is where that's a word. So I want to do my old school PhD and look that up. And I'm only saying that because I think sometimes when we don't have the right relationship with a word, we can't fulfill the word. Right now, coping is something. You feel me? Like you said, coping. You didn't say I've overcome. You said coping. And so I'm gonna look it up here, and it says to deal with, an attempt to deal with. So that's number one. I feel like a lot of times when it's something challenging or difficult, we withdraw, we run from it, we hide from it, because we feel like, I guess if I hide from it, it's just gonna go away. These feelings are gonna go away. The situations are gonna go away. It's not. No, it's not. When you lose something, deal with it. Right? Now, maybe you don't want to deal with it alone. Maybe you want a licensed professional. Maybe you want a very close family member. Maybe you want a coach. Like, I don't know. But you need to deal with it. And it says an attempt to overcome the problem or the difficulty. It says often used with learning to cope with demands, right? So there are demands that are put on us as a relate. Like you, if you lose someone, a lot of times if it's somebody very close, like I think about my mom. If I lose my mom, that is a person that I spent a lot of time talking to. That's a loss. You feel me? Like that's something I'm gonna have to overcome. Like, how do I replace that time or that wisdom or that knowledge or that information? Like that was something for me. Not just the person, but this person did something. But can I be honest with you? God can never replace your mom, but some of those qualities and characteristics, God can put somebody in your life that can do that, right? God can put somebody in your life that acts as a mother to you or gives you that type of information, right? So we have to deal with it and we have to attempt to overcome it. What does that mean? It means that there's some things that you may not overcome, but you still have to attempt to do it. You still got to give it a shot, no matter how challenging, how difficult. You got to get up. There have been days I didn't want to get up and get dressed. There were days where I felt like empty. There are days where I felt like, God, why us? Why me? This pressure seems like more than I can handle. And it was like, yeah, maybe more than you can handle on Monday, but when you get up on Tuesday, I'm gonna give you a restart. Let's go. So I just want to make sure we hear the word deal with, attempt to overcome. Like, don't let loss paralyze you. Don't let it put you in a situation where you just give up and you give in. I don't know how candid I could be on this call, but somebody who's like a little sister to me yesterday called me when I was driving home from Chicago in tears. And she was like, look, I had two options: to call the suicide hotline or call you.
Wow.
And I call you. And I was like, praise God. I was driving and I wasn't on no dead spot. And they just felt like they've suffered so much loss. And I had to walk with them through it and say, yes, you and everybody else, but those of us who overcome is because we dealt with it and we attempted to overcome. We didn't give up. We didn't surrender. We didn't quit. We may have had to tie a knot. We may have had to tie another knot. We may have had to tie a knot around ourselves, but we held on. So I'm going to say, those of you who experience loss, do not surrender. Do not retreat. Do not quit. Do not commit suicide. Do not get on drugs. Do not get in an abusive relationship. Figure a way to deal with it and to overcome it so that it makes you better and not necessarily destroys you.
Man, I'm gonna go. I'm trying not to cry, man. My mom died 4 years ago, and we talked about this before, man. It's so tough. Like, I got my mom right here on my phone. Like, I think about my mom all the time, right? I think about my mom all the time. I'm talking about 30 times a day, right?
Yeah.
It was one thing you said a couple of videos ago, though. E, you said something about someone passing away, and they didn't want you to pass away with them.
Yeah.
Right. So that was the thing I had to really remember. Like, okay, I'm my mother's son, right? And I'm fortunate enough to have sons, and hopefully I can raise them up. And it's going to be a certain time that I'm going to leave this earth, right? Hope,
Absolutely.
praying, before, I go before them, right?
Yeah.
And I will want them to carry on, right? So
Yeah.
if this is what I want for my kids, oh, that's what my mom will want for me, right? So for me, again, it was hard. And I know some of you may be young going through this. You have to get around people that are positive. I had to get around super positive people when I was going through that with my mom, the loss of my mother, right? Super positive people. I had to start doing things in my life that I was like, you know what? I'm not going to be here forever. So you know what? I'm going to start rowing, right? I'm going to start cycling. I started doing all these other things in my life to experience the joys that are in life, right? So I just want you to know that you said coping, it's always going to be, I don't know if you lose somebody at 10, it's better to lose them at 10 versus 20. It hurt, the hurt is all the same, right?
Yeah.
But again, whoever you lost, just know that they don't want you to lose your life, moping your life around because they're not there. That was the biggest thing I took away from a couple of videos ago when you said that, E. Fatai, talk to us about coping, with death. Some of these students may be going through it right now.
Yeah. Man, this is touchy. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no, this is real.
Yeah. I lost my brother-in-law earlier this year, January, to COVID. And he's also my business partner. So, there's been a lot of transitions, but he has a 20-year-old, he has an 18-year-old and a 15-year-old and a 9-year-old. And so experiencing life through their lens now, we've had to experience new holidays, new things. He was usually he was a DJ for our family at all of our barbecue events, family events. And so my 15-year-old nephew, when he said 2 weeks ago, he said, "Man, Mom, I just miss my dad. I miss Dad." He sat there, just in tears. But experiencing this with my sister and, and being able to experience it as her support, as her sister-in-law, but it hurts, and a lot of the things that I find myself asking her is, what were the plans that you guys had? What was the purpose? What was like the thing that you guys were looking forward to? As far as your marriage, your family, what were some of those exciting things that you guys were looking forward to do? Because oftentimes, and talking with a therapist, I was, she was telling my sister that this is the new normal. You're going to have to figure out who this new you, this different you, well, not so much different, but there's going to be a new normal that you're going to have to set standards for you and your family, and it's like, here we are 6 months into, after the loss of my brother-in-law, the hurt is still there. Some days my nephew will wake up again, 15 years old, a really good football player. I've seen a decrease with his education, a decrease like with everything. He just feels like there's just no reason, no purpose to live. And so oftentimes we're always feeling him. Well, what would your dad would have wanted for you? What does your dad always tell you? To grind hard, go kill it, go work hard for it. If you want it, it's not just going to be handed to you.
Yeah.
So what I think of what I just really want to be able to let people know is that we have different seasons of coping with it. This is the season that we're in right now is still a little bit sensitive because of his loss, but not to think so much about the sadness of the loss, but to think about the amazing life that he lived, because what he left behind is a legacy for them. He showed his kids what empathy is, like all those little clues. And this past weekend in Michigan, he was talking and everything that he kept saying was, man, there's success leaves little clues, all these little clues, and in the way that he lived his life. And so those are the things that I'm talking to my nephew about. And even the 9-year-old, what are some clues? What were the amazing ways that your dad lived here on earth? I think he would want you to have those qualities. Yeah. Let's go look for it. Let's go okay, the football camp. Well, let's go look at that. What does that look like? Basketball camp? Just trying to find different things, because losing a person, especially like that, like a father figure, there's just so many transitions. It's a temporary experience for now that's only going to set you up for greater if you keep chasing that legacy, the good thing that they left behind, for us. So this is a tough topic, Q.
Thank you for sharing, Fatai. We really, our prayers go out to your family. Like, seriously.
Thank you.
Coach B, talk to us, man.
Yeah, I'll actually jump off of what Fatai said a little bit. I had a coach named Larry, And I met him when I was about 15 years old. I met him at a summer camp. And at the time that I met him, I had a bunch of different coaches around me telling me how talented I was, how, you know, I should be trying to compete. So I didn't even compete in gymnastics at that age. And they were telling me how I should be trying to go to college and all these other things. And I was so scared. I was so scared and had so much self-doubt, so many self-imposed limitations at that time in my life. I couldn't even do it. And he was the coach who actually talked me into, you should give this a shot. You should compete. You should try and go to school for this. He actually let me train at his gym for free. It was an ongoing relationship. My mom even confronted my man and said, "What's in this for you? Like, this is too, like, people aren't just giving.
Wow,
like, what's happening here?"
Wow.
And he said, "No, I want him to come train with me totally for free." He knew he didn't have the money at that point. And he was the guy that talked me into it. Without him, I never would have gone to Michigan, never would have met ET. I wouldn't be on the screen right now. Like, literally, I wouldn't be me without the impact that this man had on my life. The whole time that he did all that stuff for me, he was battling stage 4 colon cancer the entire time. And so a little less than a year ago now, I saw an update on Facebook, and it was saying, it was him, it was Larry. He said, they sent me home from the hospital. They told me I got 30 days left. So I called him up and I said, I think this was on a Sunday that I saw it. I said, "I got some stuff I need to take care of up here. I will be on your front porch on Thursday morning. Don't try and talk me out of it. Don't say no. I'm going to be there." And he ended up passing away on Tuesday.
Wow.
So I didn't get the chance to go say goodbye to him. But during that process, I was pretty torn up about it. And then I heard from his widow that the funeral arrangements, and she said, "We're not going to be able to have any kind of funeral at all because of these COVID restrictions." And that tripped something in my mind. And I said, this isn't New York City. This isn't LA. Like, this is the middle of nowhere, Tennessee. I promise you, they don't have COVID restrictions like that. And I started thinking about it. And I said, you know what? If you were a gymnast between about 1980 and 2020 in Tennessee, Georgia, Alabama, the surrounding area, you probably knew Larry Denham, and he probably impacted you the same way that he impacted me. I said, I bet there would have been 1,000 people at that funeral. It would have been too big of an event. And that's why they wouldn't be able to have it. And so seeing that impact that he had on so many people is actually what helped me cope with his death. Because I think we hear the term generational wealth all the time, right? And especially in the personal development, entrepreneurship space that we're in, generational wealth. I started thinking about, what about generational impact? And I said, as long as I'm alive, the lessons he was teaching, the things he was doing for people, the spirit that he walked with, is not going to die. And me being able to take that forward with me in my own life, I'm not going to say it made it easier per se, but it made it meaningful to me. And that was what helped me cope with it. So that's just one strategy that I would offer anybody that's going through it.
Wow. B, thank you for sharing, bro. E, talk to us, man.
No, bro, loss is something that, again, is something that you cope with. It may never be something that you overcome. And people have to be okay with that. You may never overcome the feelings of emotion. You may never overcome it, but you're going to have to deal with it so that it doesn't overcome you. All right. As we always say, even as it relates to loss, small steps equals great distances. Now you know. Let's go.